Shalom. Another week. We are at the end of the book of Numbers. I'm going to do a double Torah portion, Matot Masei, and on top of that we will discuss the topic of Shavuot. Now, for those who've been with us for a while, the last couple of weeks or months actually, when we did the study on Shavuot, we looked at the number of times Moshe went up the mountain, and we also calculated the day of the month and then the counting of the Omer. The day they arrived at Mount Sinai was Omer 61. The day Yahweh spoke from the mountain, Omer 63. And the day Moses came down 40 days later was Omer 103. So if we count the same Omer from first fruits of our cycle within this year, that Omer 103 will be this Friday / Saturday coming this week. So that means that Shavuot, when Moshe came down the mountain, falls on a Sabbath, and that is the theme of Shavuot, where the tablets was received from Yahweh, and that's also the time when Moses broke the tablets, when the golden calf worship happened. And then there will be another time when Moses go up again, and there's a time period which we can't calculate because there's not enough information in scripture to determine when he actually went up. And then we know he was up there for 40 days and 40 nights, and then he came down with the perfect tablets. And seeing that this is now the fourth month, we started in the first month with Passover, unleavened bread and first fruits. And then the counting of the Omer brought us into day 103, which is in the fourth month. It's actually the 28th of the fourth month in a biblical calendar. And then there's an additional count which we can't disclose because there's not information, which basically can take us into the time of the end of the sixth month and the starting of the seventh. So that basically give us the second set of commandments, the perfect commandments that are given in the time frame of trumpets. So that's just a little overview of counting the Omer. The other thing that I mentioned back when we did this, day 49 and day 50 has to do with preparation. Just like the 14th of Nisan is a preparation for the 7-day feast of unleavened bread, in the same way day 49 and day 50 is the preparation of the bride and the warning to the bride that she need to cut ties with her previous husband, which is in a spiritual sense, all the things you've done in the past, all the things relating to Egypt, to sin and bondage, and to idol worship associated with the things in your culture that you come from. So cut bands, cut ties with those things, so you can now face the mountain, reinstate the covenant, and sign the deal, sign the contract of the marriage covenant with Yahweh. And that is what the rest of Shavuot is about. The pinnacle of Shavuot, of course, is day 63, where Yahweh spoke. That's the dark cloud, that's the ketubah, that's also the wedding night. That's where she was impregnated with the 10 words. And the words are basically the seed of the word, which she now has in her being. Now she becomes pregnant. Now we also saw the symbolism of the wheat belly in our journeys from that point on through the Torah portions, and the wheat belly points forward to the feast of Shavuot, where she is pregnant. So there's a birth going to take place in the spiritual during this time frame, which I think we are currently in the birth pains of the wheat belly, which is this Shavuot. And then the last part of Shavuot, the final part where the perfect tablets will be given, is the actual birth. Now, what supports this, I found this morning, I read the last part of the previous parasha, and it talks about the laws of offerings. Now all the offerings relates to first and foremost the daily sacrifices, some instructions regarding that, then instructions regarding sacrifices on the Sabbath, then instructions regarding sacrifices of the first month, which stipulates Passover, unleavened bread, and first fruits. And then it goes on to the instructions regarding the 7th month sacrifices, and it details trumpets, Yom Teruah, Day of Atonement or Yom Kippur, and tabernacles or Sukkot, and all the sacrifices to be done there. Now the one that is missing is Shavuot, and that immediately stood out. If something is not revealed, it means it is important. It is hidden. And we know that Yahweh hides himself, and when you find him, you'll get the glory of what that hidden thing or hidden attribute is about. In the same way, Shavuot is hidden from the rest of the festivals in the time frame of this parasha. Now, within the overview of this parasha, if we zoom out a little bit and we looked at the journey of Israel, they are now on the edge, on the bank, on the border before crossing the Jordan, before entering the promised land. Now the Jordan, we discovered, is judgment. It depicts the great tribulation, the time of the birth, the time of the great atonement, where there will be multiple babies be born during that time. That's where the wheat valley is pregnant. Now, in our time frame, if you overlay that with the history of Israel, we are now counting the Omer within our feast cycle in sync with the Torah portion cycle theme of preparing to cross the border, preparing for the breaking of the water so that we can walk through, preparing for the birth. So we are in a time of birth pains. That's on this side of the Jordan. And this two Torah portions are basically the birth pains. They apply to us living in this day, preparing for crossing over. So the theme of Shavuot is basically changing now to birth pains, and then it will be the birth, which will coincide with the Feast of Trumpets. We now have broken set of tablets, but at the birth we'll get the perfect set of tablets when King Mashiach will teach that from the mountain. In the same way we saw Moses coming down with a broken set that he broke because the people broke the covenant, but that will be replaced by King Mashiach with a perfect set of commandments, and he will teach us from the mountain. So you can see overlaying all these things connect Shavuot's theme with our Torah portion now within the prophetic time frame as well. So Shavuot is the hidden feast that is the same as trumpets, the day and the hour that you don't know. It's hidden. So the hiddenness will be revealed, and then King Mashiach, who is hidden, will be revealed as well. So it's a lot of hiddenness that coincide and confirm one another throughout the patterns. So that's all I want to share with you today. That's all I have for you today. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will speak to you soon. Shalom.